The Lily Update. For the uninitiated, Spiritfarer was one of the best games of 2020, a unique resource management sim highlighted by narrative themes of death, acceptance, and popcorn. There's a link in the description for my original video over the game if you aren't quite up to speed, and at the time of writing, it's currently scheduled to release 3 hefty updates completely free of charge, the first being the introduction of Stella's younger sister, Lily. So, upon completing this game several months back, I hopped right back in to discover that I was just leaving the tutorial, with only 2 passengers aboard, and nary a Lily to be found. It didn't take long for me to remember that Spiritfarer only harbors a single save slot, one that I had completely erased in an attempt to show someone the very beginning of the game a few months back, which meant I'd have to throw on my cap and attempt to catch them all one more time. Now, Lily only shows up after you've sent 8 spirits to the Everdoor, which for me meant I'd have to get through a pretty hefty chunk of the game once again. With the knowledge of my previous run in tow, I was knocking out spirits left and right. Hell, sometimes I'd even get a twofer. Plus, it gave me the chance to catch up on some of the other new mechanics present in the Lily update, like the improved co-op that allows for dual fishing, though I don't think my cat cared all that much. Lily's questline, as far as I can tell, is a lead-up to Stella's final journey to the Everdoor. Prior to this update, you were instructed to return to the Everdoor after delivering a set number of spirits to it. Hades' final message to Stella is largely antagonistic, to return to the Everdoor to accept her own death. Now, he informs her that she is not alone in this journey, and that her mother and sister are there by her side. Lily's arrival is foreshadowed heavily as you progress through the game, as Stella's cabin slowly succumbs to a variety of flora, and eventually a host of butterflies, who come together to form our protagonist's younger sister. Lily is very much unlike any other passenger aboard Stella's vessel, her opening conversation with us playing against a beautiful melancholic tune that helps to illustrate the situation. Lily is talking with Stella as the latter lays completely unconscious on her deathbed. As a player, you're unable to verbally interact with Lily, instead hugging her whenever prompted. With Stella's younger sister on board, you can now navigate the ship at all times, even in the dark, which was one of my biggest gripes with the original game. Upon arriving at one of the game's 4 primary shrines, Lily proceeds to reminisce with her older sister using the family photo album to guide the narrative, giving the player insight not only into Stella's life, but some of the passengers she's already guided through the Everdoor. What's important here is how these stories are related to the player. As the conversation is entirely one-sided, Lily's perspective on her sister's journey through life is what I appreciated the most. Her dialogue lines up perfectly with that of a little sister, one who may not have the entire story, but relates her feelings to Stella nonetheless, her light commentary punctuating some of the more interesting, or even heartbreaking moments of her older sister's life from a different point of view. It's all incredibly emotional, and for someone like me who completed the game a few days after it was released, returning to it months later, I was surprised at the impact Lily's stories had on me. Once Stella decides to make her way to the Everdoor herself, a small group of butterflies now accompanies her. The Lily update is perfectly integrated into the base game, complementing an experience that, frankly, had very few problems to begin with. For those on the fence, what's on offer here is certainly worth another dive into Spiritfarer. If anything, it'll give you butterflies.